Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Designing the Future. In this episode, I'm going to be designing a solar sail. Quick aside here, sorry I've taken so long to upload this video. I just got kind of distracted. And I'm recording this intro actually after I finished recording the video, as you can see by my hair. But I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, so let's get into it. I wanted to show you guys this because I actually tried to record this video one time before. And I tried to do this roadster type car concept that I had, but I just really wasn't feeling it and I wasn't happy with the result. So I'm scrapping this altogether and we're gonna start fresh on another concept, which is going to be a spaceship, but it's going to be powered by a solar sail, right? So let's get into it. Alright, so the design for this solar sail ship is going to be just basically a teardrop that is attached to a large solar sail. So it is pushed by solar winds, and I know it's not really realistic, but this is more of an art exercise than a realistic product design, okay? Okay, so I just got the basic shape down. Now I'm going to add the solar sail. So the solar sail is actually just going to be a very large octagonal shape, right? So we're going to have the little pod here, this part here in the middle, and it will be attached to the large hexagonal solar sail like this. And I'll go into it, how it attaches more later. But basically, there's going to be hexagons inside the large hexagon, right? So it's going to be, the solar sail is going to be made up of sort of a honeycomb, right? All right, I just got the sail down. And the way that I'm going to attach it to the pod, the living area, to the sail is going to be through really high or really strong cords, basically, just metal cords. So they will come out of the ship like this, and there will be two on the horizontal plane, and there will also be two on the vertical plane, because we need to steer the ship in all three dimensions. Okay, so I got the vertical sail attachments down, and like you can see in this picture, the ropes or the links go to the very far edge of the hexagon, right? And we're gonna need attachment points here in the middle area of the ship, and most importantly in the rear of the ship too. So I'm gonna draw those out real quick. All right, I just got the other attachment points nailed down. And the pod, what I'm envisioning the pod to have, I want the hexagonal shape to be translucent. So you'll be able to see like things that are coming. For example, if this is a planet here, then this will be the normal planet. And in here, the light that's bouncing off the planet will be sort of masked to some extent, as you can see here. But you will still be able to see what's coming, right? So to see what's coming, you obviously need a windshield. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a large windscreen or large wind area that fits with this teardrop shape that also serves as a panoramic roof, so the inside of the ship doesn't feel as claustrophobic as it would. Okay, as you guys can see here, this whole section right here would be a glass dome. And actually, I'm going to bring this area back here. Okay, so this whole section here would be a glass dome to allow the passengers to have a nice view of the outside of the ship. And this would be actually integrating that technology that, like, with a hit of a button, I'm pretty sure it has like very tiny, like, I'm not sure how it works, but basically at the hit of a button, it dims the whole screen. So if you're passing a nearby star or something like that, but you need to get some sleep and you don't want all of that light to come in, you would just hit a button, it would dim the whole roof, and then you would be able to go to sleep. And I'll talk more about these features of the interior when I get to it, okay? All right, so how would we steer the ship? That's a very important part, obviously. And as you guys could see, the living habitat is attached to the solar sail by these ropes. But how does the ship maneuver without like a jet or any type of external or any type of internal propulsion. So what we would do is we would have two sort of pulleys or two cylindrical objects inside the cockpit riding with the passengers, and I'll represent it with this hourglass here. And then this chain will represent the cords that would be on the outside of the craft that connect to the solar cell. So if the captain of the ship wants to turn the vehicle, they would initiate the motor that would pull one side of the rope in, and the other side, of course, would then be let out. So the solar cell would turn like that, right? So, and then this would allow, since part of the solar cell is closer to the ship than the other, the ship would turn like that, right? And if they want to go the other way, they would do the same, but in the opposite direction. And this is not only capable, well, and the why I added these on the horizontal and vertical plane is to be able to do the same vertically and horizontally. And now we have two of these because if the captain needs to make slight adjustments or needs to tweak the flight path very slightly, instead of using the large ones back here, they can just use these smaller, more precise ones to make smaller, more calculated adjustments to the flight trajectory. Now I'm going to draw the interior and I'll show you guys when I'm done. Alright, so I just finished drawing the interior. I did a very rough sketch of it, but as you guys could see, it's I'll go into this homeostasis pod more later, but this is sort of like a fisheye lens of the interior. Now the solar cell would be out here, and what I drew in this kind of translucent sort of dome-shaped box is where the controls for the attachment points to the solar cell would be. So there would be a mechanism here with wheels, very simple wheels and motors, that just adjust which side of the solar cell is to be pulled in. Now these motors would be accessible for maintenance through a small panel here that would just pop out, and then you could access inside the gears or the mechanisms to fix anything that goes wrong. And this would also double as a table or a sitting area if it is needed. Now, as you guys can notice, the rear end of the ship here really slopes down, so this wouldn't really be practical for use. So the end of the practical area of use would really be about here. So there would be a partition in between the living space, and this is the primary cargo space, right? So, or the temporary cargo space. So there would be a little cargo section here that would also be curved on the inside, blah, blah, blah. That would have the essential cargo that is needed. So for example, it would have like a food pantry or a fridge if fridges get light enough to be able to be taken into space. But here would just be the essential storage, right? Like food or things that would be immediately used by the people living inside the habitat pod. Now, at the bottom here, this might look like wasted space, but it would double perfectly as a more temporary storage hold. So since there's more room, the larger things can be stored here, like for example, a planetary recon module or a very tiny ATV to be able to explore planetary surfaces without in a fast manner, or a bunch of things that could be packed in there to eventually set a habitat down in a distant world. Now, I said I was going to talk more about these homeostasis pods. And what these are basically is they're a circle, and these homeostasis pods are basically like the name suggests, homeostasis pods. So they're really a glorified chair, to be quite honest. But these are pods that have heated and cooled seats, which can be controlled here, or a massage seat option if needed to relax and unwind. And the material in here will actually form around the passenger's body, and the passenger can choose the hardness setting or the firmness of the material. So they can be engulfed in it if they wish, or they can sit in a harder compound. Now this could be done through a variety of ways. It could be done through airbags that inflate and deflate to create a harsher or smoother ride, which would be possible today and has been done by some auto manufacturers like Mercedes with their auto bolstering systems in their cars. Or if we find a gel-like compound that is more suitable for this use in the future, that could be implemented as well. Now, as you can see in this rough sketch, the pod is not attached to the ground. That is because the whole subfloor of the pod would actually be a really big magnet. And this would allow for things to slide almost frictionlessly, like these homeostasis pods, to be suspended midair without, these would be able to be suspended midair due to magnetic repulsion. And this would just be very useful for a number of reasons. Mainly, you don't have to push wheels around through the floor. It would just create a more streamlined and comfortable experience for the passengers, which is what we want to do if they're embarking on a year-long journey throughout the universe. Now, where would the inhabitants of this pod sleep? Well, the same place that they spend most of their time, most of their leisure time, which is the main pod. So main pod. Let me label that there. But this main pod is where they would spend most of the time and also sleep. So on the walls here, let me get it sketched out and I'll explain further. Okay, so the inhabitants would sleep in bunk beds that would retract and pull out as the inhabitant requested. So they would be able to sleep. A pillow would be here, of course, to rest their head, but they would serve a double function. So when they're retracted, they would double as a entertainment screen. So they could watch whatever entertainment is available to them through the journey. Now, obviously, another big concern with interstellar travel is how would we manage our waste? And I mean, scientists will probably have figured this out by now. Or we just use whatever they use in the space station. I don't really know that much about waste management in space, but any waste management system could be implemented in the essential storage here, or maybe in the more long-term storage near the bottom. Now, these pods, when they would near the surface, they would go into a near surface protocol and would actually detach the chains from them. And then these ailerons, I'm pretty sure that's what they're called, or these wings would pull or come out, right? So then the ship would serve as a sort of a glider plane until there's a safe place found to land. And then once the ship is landed, it would pull out, once it's landed permanently, it would pull out these compartments here where a spider-like leg would retract out of the ship and set the ship down. Now, the entrance to the ship is through the permanent storage, or more permanent storage, I guess, near the bottom here. And to fit into the other design cues of the ship, it's also very curved and very rounded, and this would also open like this. All right, I think that's it. That has been Designing the Future Part 2. This is a bit more of a radical video, but a bit more looking very much farther into the future than my past video. And not all videos will be like this. Not all Designing the Future videos will be like this. But I just wanted to really push myself to try to imagine something totally or almost totally alien to us at the moment. That has been my solar pod design. Thanks for watching. This has been Daniel. Have a good day.